And sa inyong lahat, Miss Tessa, I think ready na po talaga tayo for our open forum.
All right. Thank you, Maribeth and Marian. Wait, I would just like to acknowledge some of the participants that are also here. Ultra Sky Solutions Limited, TDP Management Consultancy, Society of Filipino Foresters, Sabon Depot, Cavite, Equip, Ultra Sky Solutions Limited, Global Una Philippines, UMCOR, and others. So anyway, hindi ko kasi sila na-mention kanina. All right, so to open the floor, to hear some of the thoughts, questions, and reactions of our participants, both on Zoom and on Facebook live stream. So please use the raise hand option on Zoom if you would like to speak, and we will gladly recognize you. Okay? Once called, please introduce yourself and clearly state your question and to whom it is directed to. Or you may type your question or comment in the chat box. Marian and I will gladly read it for you. So rest assured, we will try to entertain as many questions as time permits, following a first come, first served basis. And for those whom we won't be able to entertain due to time constraint, feel free to reach out through GC's media channels or directly to our resource speakers. And of course, please send links in the chat box. Just make sure that the links are safe. We will gladly welcome them to keep the conversation going. Also, this will add resources for our participants to keep the conversation here that we've talked about in Kamayan Forum. Okay, so we can now open the floor for our open forum. Just please tell us who are raising their hands so we can call them.
Yes, we have someone from Miriam College, Bryn Anaya.
Okay, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yes.
so my name is Bryn Manglinang. I'm from Miriam College, and so this is just something I wanted to say about the nuclear power plant thing. So I discussed this with my parents while listening to the forum, and I learned that the nuclear power plant that is the nuclear power plant that is opposed. I learned that there are two different kinds of nuclear power plants. The old one, which now that I think of it, I do think that it should either be shut down or heavily reconstructed. I realized that not only is it inconveniently located, but it was built around the same time as Chernobyl. So,
Yeah.
and there's also the newer power plants, which I'm actually in full support of. So, and so are my parents, it seems, because a lot of more prosperous countries in Europe are actually nearly fully nuclear. So I'm just asking, to uh is there a way to safely bring nuclear energy to the Philippines, or is it just never going to happen? Sorry.
Okay, thank you for that question. So, this is about the nuclear. Anyone from our speakers would want to respond?
Parang gusto na ni Dr. Nina magpapa-live. Dok, ano yun? Health hotline. Si Ma'am na muna magsalita. Ma'am, gusto niyo? Ay, hindi, binasa ko. Ma'am, were you here? I showed them your comments sa DOST page. Were you here?
Yes, I saw
Ah.
it. Yeah.
Muna.
You want me to answer?
Yes.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Dr. Galang.
Thank you for that question. And I'm very glad someone from Miriam College asked it, meaning that you're thinking. Yes, there are people, well, many think that because from a small ball of uranium, you get a lot of power. That's true. But just thinking of what can be readily understood by the layperson, it's already something that we should not use. It's the most expensive of all the fuel sources for producing electricity or energy. It's the most expensive because you go through mining, you go through enriching the uranium, you go through isolating what is fissionable, and then the structure that you have to build, if you want it safe, is very, very, has to have many layers of safety. And number one, very, very expensive, the most expensive. Number two, even in its operations, it already produces radioactive pollution. From the mining, you're already mining radioactive substance, which exposes the workers to radioactivity. And of course, also the stages of enriching the uranium. And even in the operations, people who are in the nuclear power plant have to have these badges which measure their exposure to the radioactivity. So they have to monitor it continuously because they are exposed. I worked in a nuclear reactor before, and we had to wear that badge all the time. And every day it had to be tested how much to see how much we were exposed to. Number three, as Murphy's Law says, if anything can happen, it will happen. And it did happen. Okay, no matter how safe you want it to be, no matter how advanced the nuclear technology is now, it can happen. And if it happens, like in Chernobyl and Fukushima, look at all the destruction that it caused. Now in Russia, that area where we had that meltdown is uninhabitable. No person can go in. Can you imagine a portion of the Philippines being uninhabitable? We're already a small country, and then we will have a wasteland which we cannot use. In Fukushima, it's already 15 years since the accident, and they still can't control the radioactivity coming out. So even if nuclear accidents might be of that magnitude, might be rare, the catastrophe that it is, it's not comparable to any of the disasters that we experience, like floods, typhoons, earthquakes. You know, when there's an earthquake, we go back to the place where there was an earthquake. When there's a flood, we go back to the place where there was a flood. But if there is a radioactive explosion, we cannot go back to that place. It's a wasteland. And then the waste, the radioactive waste of the fuel, it cannot go back to, di ba? We talk about the ecological paradigm, which is circular economy. In nature, everything is recycled. The waste goes back to being a resource again. But if in nuclear, even in plastics, we can recycle now. Okay, that's another thing. But with nuclear technology, the waste is a dead end. We just have to bury it because it's so dangerous. So, okay. But lastly, but maybe most important for everyone, we have so much renewable energy, cheaper, safer, and decentralized, because even, it doesn't need high-minded, high-level scientists and high and rich countries. It doesn't need rich a lot of money to produce. So we can have the renewable energy in small islands because small islands have wind, sun, waves. The country has been blessed with so much renewable energy. Why will we go into this expensive, dangerous technology? What for? Okay, what for? When we have so many blessings, and then we go to this way of development, which is really not advantageous at all. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Brim. I'd be glad to answer other more probing questions if you want, but I think I will end there. Thank you.
Ako, mama, may probing question kay Brian.
Okay.
Are you a student, a graduate of Miriam, or working there? Just to clarify. You introduce yourself as parang from Miriam. Of course, you know Dr. Nina Galang. May I know,
Hi.
Brian?
No, she's new.
Sorry, I'm a student, international studies, second year, and I have been a supporter of nuclear energy ever since I was a sixth grader. Hearing about Chernobyl for like the second time, I've heard about Chernobyl and Fukushima and all of and 3 Mile Island for like 50 more times, and I'm still in favor of it. But
Why?
thanks. It is nice hearing another perspective. So, okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Anyway, but are your parents into in government, or are they into the, I don't know, but that might influence you? No, not really.
No.
Your
Nothing.
decision. Anyway, Brian, of course, we will respect if that's your choice. But sana, after this event, you can read about some of our statements. And I don't know if you want to interview some people, if you get a chance from the Bataan, and you will know that there is a strong opposition for it, and it's really dangerous. But it's your decision. We did what we could to explain it to you here. I don't know if that was what why you were moved to attend to our event, or I don't know. But anyway, that's it. We already answered it. Okay.
Gwen, may I add? Yesterday, we came from anti-nuke Asian forum where there were delegates from other countries like Japan, Taiwan, Korea, Australia, India. Taiwan built its nuclear power plants. I think there were 3, but then they closed it. They have decided to be a nuclear-free country. Even if they closed it, they still had their electricity, and they are using their natural resources like wind, etc. Germany is turning away from nuclear. Its renewable energy share is getting bigger and bigger. And when you say that many countries have it, most of the nuclear power plants are actually in the big powers like US, Russia, China. In the other countries, there might be, but they're not really going all gung-ho. So as people continue having experiences with it, they're finding out that it's really not that advantageous economically, socially, and of course, environmentally. So I think we should learn from those countries. And I think we should do it our way. We have so much, as I said, blessings. Let's do it the Filipino way, which is using what God gave us. And we have mechanics, we have engineers who can go into renewable energy much faster. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was a good discussion. Is there another question from our participants?
Yes, Miss Tessa, may reflections po tayo from our chat box from Mr. Marvin Tejada. Basahin ko po muna yung reflections bago yung mismong question niya po. Sabi niya po, I think the law is supporting concessions for unsolicited PPP projects. PPP po ba ito or PDP? In favor of developers via RA 11966 as SMC lawyers' wage to the detriment of the environment. Congress is majority consists of contractors, businessmen, and oligarchs. So what do we expect the brand of laws pass? And then my question po siya, do you think that the passage of National Land Use Act or NLUA will stop unwarranted land conversion and environmental degradation? This is from Mr. Marvin Tejada po.
All right. Anyone from our resource speakers? Nandiyan po ba si Rodney?
Gusto mo ba, Rodney? Ako muna. Teka lang.
Sige, go ahead,
Yung-
Gwen.
Yung,
Sige.
ang tanong niya yung naluwa, no? Rodney, gusto mo ikaw na muna? Ako na muna. Ikaw.
Sige, sige.
Sige, si Rodney muna.
Okay. When it comes to Nalua, no, we know Nalua, no, it's the National Land Use Act. My answer there is not automatically, no, but it's one of the strongest tools we can have. Kasi right now, a lot of environmental conflicts happen because land use decisions are fragmented, inconsistent, or influenced by short-term political and business interests. And that's the reality. And NALUA can help us set clear rules on what land should be protected, what land should be farmed, developed, or conserved. But let's be real, no? A law on paper won't save forests, watersheds, or biodiversity by itself. But because if enforcement is weak, if loopholes remain, or if powerful interests can still override environmental protections, land conversion, and ecological destruction will continue. And we still have DNR, who is like a schizophrenic agency. I mean, not only two, but many roles. No? And the real value of the NALUA is that it shifts the conversation from how do we develop this land to the question, should this land even be developed in the first place? No? And for us, environmental advocates, that's huge. The NALUA is not a silver bullet, but without it, we're fighting environmental degradation with one hand tied behind our back. No? Good laws don't save ecosystems. People enforcing good laws do. And the NALUA gives us the framework. No? The public must make sure it's followed. So, in closing, the NALUA won't stop environmental destruction overnight. But without a national land use policy, protecting our forests, our farms, watersheds, and biodiversity is like playing a game without rules. So, the NALUA won't solve everything, but not having it, no, makes everything harder.
Okay,
Thank you.
Gwen? Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Rodney. Maganda yung pagkasagot niya na hindi nga, mapasama natin siya, hindi nga sapat. Mahalaga yung enforcement. Like yung ibang environmental laws natin, ang gaganda. Kulang nga yung enforcement kasi problematic itong ating DNR at ibang LGUs, leaders. Anyway, pero mahalaga na maganda yung tanong, no? Hindi lang NALUA yung kailangan nating ipasa na green bills. Susunod dito yung forest bill kasi sobrang luma na nung forest bill natin na ginagamit pa ngayon pang na reason sa anti-tree cutting. So, kailangan nating bagong forest bill na version ng CSO. Meron bang forester dito? Sige. Tapos, susunod na ano yung isa? Yung alternative minings bill. Kasi yung mining law ng 1995 na pinasa ni GMA, parang masyadong dehado ang Pilipinas doon. Saka kulang ng mga safeguards. Yung pang-apat na bago, meron mga gustong ipasa ngayon, di ba, yung rights, although medyo mahirap, yung Rights of Nature Bill, yung plastics, di ba, meron din tayong law ata doon, Rodney, tama? At saka baka sila Rodney and JL would know more about the, yung Klima Bill, yung mga ganon. So, basta marami pang ibang dapat ipasa para talagang mas lalong maprotektahan natin ang environment and natural resources. Pero malaga yung kasi yung NALUA, sabihin niya, kung example, etong part na to, hindi to pwedeng mining. Ito, parang, tawag dito? Protected area, something like that. So, mahalaga yun kasi ngayon kung ano-ano na lang pinaggagawa nila na na dapat, hindi na dapat, i-safeguard na dapat, tapos ano, yun. Halimbawa, example lang ito, victory ng CSO, i-celebrate naman natin yung victory natin minsan. Kahit maliit lang, yung Arroceros Park, muntik nang gawing, nakalimutan ko kung anong gagawin doon, kung gym or something, ng Manila, naglabi yung mga tao, etc. Si Mayor Isko, nakinig. Pero marami pang ibang issues tayong dapat ikausapin kay Mayor Isko. So there, yun.
Ma'am Tessa,
Yes.
i-withdraw ko lang yung sinasabi kong schizophrenic. No? It's very sensitive, it's the mental health. I would rather choose to say apologies sa ating mga nag-experience ng mental health. No? I just would like to put this on record. Sometimes, kasi it feels like the DNR is trying to be both the referee and the promoter at the same time. So that's the biggest problem.
Yes, actually. Ang sabi nga ng DNR when we had a forum on this, wala naman daw sila talagang parang mga a group that will really monitor and yung parang magpupulis. So unlike other government agencies, meron silang parang police arm, pero dito sa DNR parang wala. But anyway, let's go to another question. Yes, I saw the hand of Mila.
Oh, okay. I actually put in the chat box the link to the drive where materials that will enlighten, especially Brin, on the hazards of nuclear energy. And my hope is that she will, and people who think likewise, like her, would look at the cost benefit of doing nuclear. So far at the moment, countries are already into what we call as nuclear fusion. Dalawa kasing nuclear energy either by fission or fusion. Yung fusion, that's how we derive energy from the sun. That's how the sun gives light to us, which is relatively safe. But for the fission, which uses uranium, that's very dangerous. And all countries who are into it are now decommissioning. And the cost of decommissioning alone is very, very high. Tapos yung siguro ang isang tanong ko actually, kasi yung title natin, di ba, yung where we are and where do we need to go. And looking at the presentation, especially of Gwen, and of course, Rodney, it seems like we're gaining victories. And yet, parang our victories are somehow erased by the
Yes.
positioning of our politicians or the different actions that they are taking now. Like, for example, they're amending laws like the Clean Air Act just to ensure that we can go into waste to energy, you know? And then even the concept of what renewable is, they're even thinking that it's nuclear energy is somehow renewable. So in other words, when I actually, in one of the sessions wherein Marco Hanco and his colleagues are really selling the idea of us adopting nuclear energy, right there and then it's quite obvious that he's coming up with the information that are untrue, which are not correct. And in those events that we tried to correct his information, it seems apparent that he himself is really somehow into the, he's really pushing it for whatever reason it is. And it seems that it's really not for our country's benefit. Kasi even the nuclear scientists, those who are deep into the study of it, would say that if you look at the whole cycle of the nuclear energy, which they are saying now is cheap, it's really quite expensive. Even the magnitude of the cost that Japan used That's even greater than our national budget. Even the coming up with structures, we don't even have the fuel to to ensure its sustainability. We have to buy it. And yung tanong na where we are and where do we need to go. It's some sort of a vicious cycle. We gain some and then we lose again. Just because of these politicians and those lobbyists that have great power to really tilt the balance in their favor. So I'm thinking that probably we really have to fight them out. That's why when I asked actually yung isa sa mga proponent ng ating nuclear energy bill, he said that even the DOE never had it in their energy plan, the Philippine energy plan. But it was because of the lobbying of Marco Huangco, even taunting Marcos Jr. that nuclear energy was the brainchild of his father. Parang nawala eh. Parang biglang nawala yung essence ng reason why we never had it in the first place. Ang daming issues and I really want people who think like Brin to really delve deeper and deep dive into the issue by really studying the materials. There's even a study by South Korea, from South Korea. Tiningnan niya like the refurbishing of the BNPP, how much it will cost, and contrapose it with the needs of our country for social services. Parang ang laki-laki ng ipapasok mo doon, tapos ang mahal-mahal, we're even deep in debt just to have it. But who's gaining out of it? Parang ganun yung ano natin. So it's really a fight between the strong lobbyists, the companies, and people power. Ang sabi nga nung nakausap ko na isa, I forgot the name, yung isa sa mga authors ng bill, if we really would like to push for tidal wave energy, which was in the Philippine Energy Plan, we really have to lobby strong for it. So sabi ko ganun, why is it like that? When the DOST, the DOE, should have their own research teams and it shouldn't even come from us. Kasi sila supposedly are the ones who should think better for the country's benefit. And I understand people like Brin because of the news that comes out, and if you don't think enough and you don't really go deep into the issue, you will be parang maniniwala ka, which is very, very sad. Even my friend who died recently, yung talagang nuclear scientist, he himself said that it is very expensive, it is not true. What they are saying in the social media, those who are pro-nuclear, are all false. So
Okay.
I really hope
Thank you.
that they will think it over. Thank you.
Thank you, Mila,
So,
for
ang
all
tanong kasi, where do we go from here? And may vicious
Okay.
cycle, how are we going to stop that vicious cycle?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's have Sister Marisa. Go ahead, sister. Sister, you're on mute. All right, maybe while waiting for sister, I saw another question here. Ano ba to? Okay, thanks for this information and informative discussion. How do you see the implementation of the Philippine Environmental Impact System? That's a question from Menro. Any answer from our resource speakers?
Ako,
Supposed
Ma'am
to
Tess.
protect us, hindi ba itong law na to? Yes.
Yeah. Ma'am Tess, yung Philippine EI system is great on paper, and we know that the EI system is obsolete already. Dahil marami na tayong bagong batas, marami na tayong mga treaties, etc. Pero yung environmental impact assessment is great on paper but often weak in practice. No? EIA are supposed to prevent bad projects before they happen, but too often they become a box-ticking exercise instead of a genuine environmental safeguard. And when communities raise concerns, no, I've been attending many public scoping, information education campaign, etc. So communities raise concerns, experts submit findings, yet projects still get approved despite obvious environmental risk. And that's why many people see the EIA process as more of a permit pathway than a protection mechanism. So an EIA should ask, should this project happen at all? And too often, the system only asks, how can we make this project happen? No? So the problem is not the EIA framework itself. It is weak enforcement, limited transparency, political pressure, and poor accountability. But at the end of the day, kailangan na tayo magkaroon ng batas ng EIA, hindi lang yung presidential proclamation or whatever. And I think there are pending bills already in Congress about it. If the outcome is already decided before the assessment begins, then it's not an environmental impact assessment. And many companies pay consultancies, consultancy agencies kasi ang nakikita na matutuloy na yung project. So it's an environmental impact justification. So the Philippine EIA system doesn't need more paperwork. It needs more courage to say no to environmentally destructive projects. But at the end, EIA process is obsolete. We need to have a new law.
Okay, thank you. Marian?
Thank you for that, Sir Rodney. That was very nice po. May next po tayong question here from student po ba to? From NU, from Miss Victoria Nanagas. What is the relevance of NIPAS now? What violations being committed by the orgs behind the NIPAS themselves? Being po siguro to, with violations being committed by the organizations behind the NIPAS themselves.
May question ako doon sa nag-question. Can she clarify sinong sinasabi niya organizations, mga what's that? The DNR
government,
or the local government units? Anong committed by the orgs behind the NIPAS themselves? Parang hindi ko maano yun.
Miss Victoria, would you like to clarify po for our resource
Can
speakers?
she speak on mic? Want to introduce yourself? What's NU, National University? Are you teaching? What?
Hello. University, yes. I'm a yes. I'm teaching environmental conservation. No, because I normally include the NIPAS, which is from the IUCN, and the National Integrated Protected Area System of the Philippines. And there's been so many violations of the protected areas that were enacted by
Sa bagay niya, totoo naman.
by the DEN, by the LGU. It's relevant. What is the advantage of being part of NIPAS or NIPAS? Them themselves, those who enacted the protected areas, commit violations. No, one case in point is the Bohol Resort.
Yeah. Oo nga, yun nga. So, pwede na magsalita. Tama, thank you. You're teaching what again? Sorry, na-curious ako. Environmental. What are you teaching? What's that? Victoria, what are you teaching again?
I'm teaching environmental conservation under tourism management.
Wow. Oh, baka you can come and join us sometime pag we have some events on site. So, you can also get to know some of our Anyway, or you can get to invite us to come to your class. Or we can have a round table there. NU. Is this the NU that bought my school, Nazareth School? In Sampaloc? No. Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So, Nazareth School, I finished my kinder, elementary, and grades and high school there, but what's that? The NU bought Nazareth School a few years ago. So, it used to be run by the ES de Jesus. So, anyway, What am I saying? Yun nga, tama nga eh. Yun nga ang problema natin, yung enforcement. So kaya nga, kailangan nating ilakasan yung prosecution. Siguro next time, another time, we can talk about that with Attorney Golly and some of the environmental lawyers na talagang dapat tutukan na talaga natin yung, naku, marapit ako, may kasuhan na isang nandyan sa isang government agencies for something. It's not really environment, but it's parang ganun sila talagang ito parang yung experience ko dito yung parang yan ito alam naman natin yon na pag inaapi yung mga kakampi natin, 'di ba, ng gobyerno, pero pag yung nakaharap mo na parang nakausap mo na talagang halata na na-corrupt yung official, yung gano'n, naku talagang grabe, ang sakit sa loob ko, saka talagang parang grabe. Anong gusto mo ng patanggal sa trabaho, gusto mo nang i-report, ganyan. So, dapat palagay ko yun ang dapat natin dapat lakasan natin, bukod sa kailangan nating mag-organize better as a green movement, we need to really, get evidences of corruption, ano pa ba yung mga pinapagagawa nila na mali, at talagang dapat isu natin, i-expose natin, like sa flood-related scandal, kung meron tayong ganung actually, may mga ibang studies about corruption in the NGP, di ba? Pero anong nangyari? Nagsa-study tayo, yung mga iba gumagawa ng papers, alam naman natin, pero natututukan ba natin yung sa kanila, expose sa kanila, pag-file ng case at hopefully pagpapakulong or pag-mud shaming sa kanila, 'di ba? Parang dapat pag-isipan natin 'yan talaga. Kaso ngayon, mahirap pa tayo, alam niyo kung bakit? Naghulog government na nga sila. Kumbaga nag-gang up sila. Parang ganon, yun. So, pero may mga konti pa rin siguro tayong mahanap na allies within, pero I think that's kind of rare. If we have allies there, they might not be in the key position. So, the challenge there, going back to it, one way to solve it, aside from law enforcement, hindi namin masyadong natalakay, pero very close to our hearts din to, we need to elect local and national leaders who will be champions of our causes. That they will be that they are environmental advocates. Sa intindihan nila yung paradigm natin.
Yes,
Tapos
okay.
meron tayong common agenda. So, siguro yung, ganun pa, naniniwala ako, may partisan agenda tayo. Kunyari kami, Greens for Noy, quietly. Although hindi naman namin ni-launch yun, we joined the Pinoy Power. Pero pwede ring non-partisan, like yung ginawa nating civil society agenda, Rodney, na maganda, ang daming pumirma, 130 plus. Ang hindi natin nagawa nun, hindi tayo nakaready sa scenario B. What if hindi nanalo si Lenny? Nanalo si Duterte? Tama ba yung ba natin ginawa? Or yung si BBM pala? Hindi natin, parang gusto natin si Lenny, tapos hindi tayo naghanda. Paano kung hindi siya manalo? So ngayon, sa darating na national elections, syempre gusto natin yung opposition candidate. At sana magkaisa tayo doon. Pero paano natin siya mapapanalo? At yun. Pero, kung hindi siya manalo, dapat naka-ready din tayo. Ano gagawin natin?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. We have another raised hand from AC De Jesus. You might...
Ay, hello.
Oh, hello,
Hi,
Agnes.
Gusto ko lang pong i-share na relative to the protected areas law, I believe that there's a fundamental structural flaw in the sense that yung Protected Area Management Board or PAMB na major decision-making body within dun sa law, they're almost 95 to 99% LGU ang membership. Hindi talagang multi-stakeholder kasi the law itself provides that lahat ng mga barangay, lahat ng mga town, city, province na na-cover nun, yun ang members. Plus kung sino yung proponent. So talagang masyado ng minority yung non-LGU. So dapat siguro tinitingnan din yun kasi sila nagde-decide po doon. Thank you.
Yes, that's true, no? Sa mga protected, yung sa mga PAMBI nga, meron ngang representation ang mga NGOs, pero isa ka lang o dalawa lang kayo. So yung boto nyo, baliwala. So I think that has to be looked into also. Okay, thank you for that, Agnes. Is there another question sa ating chat
Yes,
box? Yes.
meron po tayo from Philippine Normal University, Manila, from Miss Victoria de los Santos. What safeguards can be put in place to prevent lawmakers from creating laws that benefit themselves or their associates? This is a good question po. Maybe anyone can answer po? Sige po.
Sinagot ko na rin yun, mahirap silang i-prevent. Dapat hindi. Siyempre, mape-prevent natin sila kung naglalabi tayo. Malakas yung lobby natin. Malakas yung lobby natin sa tri-media and social media, makakakuha tayo ng allies na iba, mabablock natin. Pero bago natin mablock, kailangan aware tayo. Yung nuclear, anong nangyayari dun sa House of Reps and sa Senate, hindi natin alam. So in a way, parang tulog tayo or hindi ko matandaan ano nangyari talaga, hindi ko alam yon. So, kailangan alert din tayo. So, pero syempre, ang pinakamahalaga, kung mape-prevent natin silang maupo kahit na may executive o legislative, i-prevent na natin. For example, ayan, sila Rodney, at least nakapanalo sila sa Romblon. Yung kung alam na natin, halimbawa sa Kaliwa Dam, di ba? Yung sa Quezon, kung alam nyo na pro yung dam, hindi na dapat manalo yun, siraan na dapat yun, ganon. Yung parang ganon na for mayor or for provincial board, ganon. Sayang nga yung Palawan, di ba? It really broke our hearts that the former governor, Socrates, narito na ako sa name nila, si Dennis Socrates, lost. And he was the one who was very crucial, who was very understanding of the civil society and the church na pass yung mining ban sa Palawan. Kaso nanalo yung anak ng former governor, yung nasa yung enemy. So ngayon, ayan, kaya marami na namang tree cutting sa Palawan. So, ang sakit, ano? So, anyway.
Siguro simple lang yung sagot ko din, no? Bawal gumawa ng environmental laws ang mga taong may personal na kikitain dito, no? Dapat may full transparency, disclosure ng business interest, at mandatory inhibition kapag may conflict of interest. Kasi hindi mo pwedeng bantayan ng kalikasan habang kumikita ka sa pagsira nito. At kapag ang gumagawa ng environmental laws ay may stake sa mining, logging, or land conversion, hindi na conservation ang priority nito. Profit na.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is my perception. We have to understand that man is a political being. That's according to Aristotle. Whether you're poor, whether you're rich, whether you're a politician or just an ordinary citizen, politics is still part of your life, no? And becomes a part of your system. So, environmental issues should be known by people, especially in the grassroots level. Okay. And how do we do that? Through LGUs. Actually, this issue on nuclear weapon, we were invited by the ambassador of Iran about this issue. And that's the reason why US is trying to, hit Iran and destroy Iran, because they said that Iran is already coming up with a separate, special kind of nuclear weapon, no? Anyway, it's another issue. But how can these people in the grassroots level can understand? So actually, in one of the researches conducted by the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, I can share with you part of the result that even one of the recommendations that even in the church organization, clerics need proper formation. We have to give emphasis on respect and these very basic values and so. So the issue of how can our area be protected? What is the LGU doing? No? If they have a tourism desk, they should also have a desk for environment. Okay, so I challenge the church in our discussion. What is happening with the voters education group? Every church has a voters education. We call that something like that, no? That educate the voters. When many times we already discussed, look at the people who are there, more very corrupt. So let's go back to they are not using the gifts God has given us, a mind to think and a heart to love. They are carried by the emotion. I want to have more money. but in their mind, is it correct? They do not do that. And that actually was the basic reason I told you already why I left my job, first job on a research mining industry, because at that time I could see already something is wrong. But I was then a young student, newly graduate, so I just graduated. So wish we do something about it, no? Educating the young, educating the SGUs, and thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we see other questions? Maybe we can just have one last question.
Yes. Si Sister Marisa po ba? Nandyan pa po siya? Wala na po yata,
Actually, she
no?
is asking me why you cannot hear her eh. She is with me
Wala
in
po,
message.
nakamute po siya. Nakamute po siya.
Or
Okay,
nandyan
let's
pa
have
siya
Sister.
mukhang nawala siya sa Zoom. Anong question mo, Sister Marisa? Sister Marisa,
Let me check po
hinahanap ka.
if she's still here.
Yeah, Maribeth, can you please check?
Oh, but
Uh-huh.
is she still in Zoom? Nasa Zoom pa ba siya?
Wait. Yes po, I'll ask her to
Diyan pa.
unmute. Hold on po.
Nasa Zoom ka, mag-unmute ka. Or
Okay.
isulat mo na lang sa chat. I-chat mo na lang yung question mo, sister.
Yes po, sister. You
Sister,
can
we
do that
want to
po.
hear you kasi nagkataas na siya ng kamay nung nagsasalita pa lang kami ni Carmen. So, hindi ko alam baka na-distract siya or what, or she wants to add something. It's okay lang if you just want to get feedback or whatever as a sister. Or she can call one of you or one of us. Asan na? Nawala na siya? Wala.
She does not know kasi.
Nakamute yung kanyang
Pero she's still there? I can't
Yes
see.
po.
She's still there.
Dali.
Si Sister Marisa, from what? Anong congregation ni Sister? Ha?
Ito, ako na lang magsabi ng kanyang question.
Ah, sige.
What can we do
Okay po.
to stop the government? Sister, ikaw magsabi at sasabihin ko, what can we do to stop the government? Continue. Cutting the trees.
The tree cutting ha.
What can we do
Right.
to stop the government from cutting the trees in the elliptical road? Yun bang question mo, sister?
Elliptical naman to, iba naman to? May ibang tree cutting issue?
Quezon City elliptical
How
road.
is it happening? Is it a plan? Oh my.
City
Huh?
Hall is located.
Hindi. Can you clarify, Vicky? Is it happening now? Is it planned? It's ongoing?
Hear the voice of Sister.
A big rotonda.
Hindi. Is it now? Is it happening? I mean, is it a plan or they're cutting already?
Ang baha dito, baha ng baha. Pinuputol pa nila. Kasi nalagay daw sila ng subway. Huwag naman nila
May infrastructure na naman.
puputol. Napakasalbahe.
Yeah, we can write to the mayor.
Yeah, si Joy. Pero kaya lang, malamang alam niya yan. Pero anyway, we can try. Anyway, kasi Father Robert is in Quezon City. Sister Vicky, connect mo na lang tayo tayo minsan ni Sister to clarify it or we meet her, turo niya yung site, whatever. Bago tayo pumunta kay Mayor Joy, kailangan i-inspect muna natin at alamin muna natin ano yung project na yon bago tayo sumugod. So, Sister, siguro
I think, Sister, I think the best way is for you to come to the Green Convergence and then we will act on your issue.
Hindi na siya coming na nga to us now eh. Kaya nga lang, let's set another meeting Tita Vicky to talk with her, siguro with a lawyer and Father Robert kasi he's in Cubao bago tayo pumunta kay Mayor Joy.
Okay?
Diba? So, siguro, mga July na siguro, first week of July. O yan,
Ito,
birthday ko naman. Magkita-kita tayo kahit small round table. Let's see. Pero hindi ko lang alam kung urgent. Sister, and then, can you take some photos of the tree, kung may tree cutting na ba o wala pa? Can you email the photos to me and to Vicky? or whoever, and then so we can see it and I can do research kung anong project ba yan, anong infrastructure. Pero kung nag-ongoing, kaso kung nagkakating na nga, medyo urgent yon. Kasi kailangan talaga silang mapigilan agad. So yun yung dapat na malaman agad. I don't know. Where do you live, sister? Where's your congregation ba? Pakita klaro nga, ano nga, Vicky. Saan siya?
I am near the Quezon City Hall where the elliptical road is located.
Oh my gosh. So, sister, ang tanong ko, is the tree cutting happening na? Nasimulan na ba o hindi?
All.
Ha? Hindi niya masagot yung tanong ko yan. Sister, nagsimula na ba yung pagputol o hindi pa? Oo daw?
Sabi niya
Sister,
kanina,
pag-usapan na lang
nasimulan na.
natin yan another time. We will have another meeting with you.
Hindi, kaya lang, Vicky, kaya lang ang wini-worry ko, kung nagka-cutting na ngayon, tapos nag-meeting pa tayo ng July, baka wala na tayo isa-save. Kaya dapat maklaro yung urgency kung the tree cutting is happening.
Excuse me, ganito na lang. Sister,
Oo.
can you please put your contact details sa Green Convergence email?
Sister, marinig
That's-
mo ang sinasabi ni Miss Tessa?
So we can continue the discussion there. We have an email address that's greenconvergencefil@gmail.com. Maybe you can put your contact detail and we can call you.
Okay? Okay, sister? We can contact.
Ayan. So, nandiyan na yung email sa email address ng Green Convergence sa chat group. Sa
Sister,
aking
I also sent you a private message. I gave you my mobile number. So we will also inform Father Robert Reyes. The sooner we can talk, kahit Zoom man lang with a few people here and Father Robert and another lawyer, Attorney Golly. I know Mayor Joy. Of course, some of us know her. But before we go to her, we have to understand what's happening. And we have to strategize. Okay? O may question pa?
Alright. Okay.
O sa tree
Thank you.
cutting din uli ito eh. Ano sabi niya?
Yes, it's tree cutting in the elliptical road.
Sarex nga.
Anyway,
Hindi, ito may
thank
bago yun sa Sarex. We discussed that. The one in Quirino Highway is the Sarex. Kaya nga, in summary pala, hindi ko masyadong na-summarize yung sentence. There are infrastructure projects. Yan na nga yung PPP, iba, which are really detrimental to the environment. And nagkataon ang ilang projects na yan, either China-funded, yung mga reclamations, di ba? And then, San Miguel naman itong mga iba. So talagang, ang hindi ko lang alam, parang yung lawyer daw, may bagong news yesterday, na, kasi nag-file ng court a few students about it, ang defense ng lawyer, hindi daw pwedeng pigilan sa tree cutting ang tree cutting dahil yung project na yon may something silang ginamit na another law. Baka yung ease of business or something. Kaya nga, kung ano-anong mali-maling ginawang law nila talaga para talagang yung mga dating blocks natin, maano nila. Sabi niya, hindi daw pwede sa regional trial court or sa lower court. Supreme Court lang daw ang makikibigay ng TEPO. So, nagkamali ata ng filing yung mga estudyante or so. So, anyway, kailangan pag-aralan din yon. So, isabay na natin yon kung sakali, sa meeting na yon, we'll get Attorney Golly to attend, Father Robert to attend, and I don't know if Attorney Gala can help. And kung meron pa tayong ibang lawyers, pag-usapan na yon. Kasi, di ko alam kung, whether the elliptical road or the Sarex or the Parex, then we might need to file a case at the Supreme Court. In addition to
Okay, thank you,
a more
thank you.
intensive lobby.
Okay, thank you, Gwen. It's time to wrap up now. We can wrap up the open forum. Sister, you want to say something?
Then I can just call out sa cellphone. Kasi blurred eh. Vicky, hindi masyado maintindihan sinasabi. I cannot catch what you are saying eh.
Kasi sister, you are not in Zoom anymore. We will just contact you later, sister. Oo, we'll contact you later, sister. Wala ka na kasi sa Zoom. Hindi kasi techie si sister eh. Yan ang kanyang difficulty. Hindi siya marunong hindi siya techie.
What's your
Alright,
congregation,
Anna?
Vicky?
Anna, do you have her contact details when she registered? Maybe we can get in touch with sister.
You
Okay?
put it doon sa Vincentian group, sister, where you are calling me now. you put everything there so that I can forward it to Green Convergence. Okay?
All right, time to wrap up now the open forum. Thank you, everyone, and thank you to our resource speakers for the productive interaction. Talagang we need follow-up discussions on it, no? So before we conclude today's Kamayan, we have some announcements. So go ahead, Marian. Please do the announcements.
Yes, thank you. Very interesting exchange of thoughts and ideas po ang nangyari sa ating open forum, no? A major environmental reality check we had there. So thank you, Ms. Tessa. And of course, thank you everyone, especially Dr. Carmen, Ms. Gwen, and Sir Rodney for sharing your insights. Please allow me to drop a few announcements po muna now before we conclude today's forum. So firstly, the evaluation form. Okay, the GC Secretariat will be sharing the link to the evaluation form in the chat box, and it will also be flashed on your screens. Hold on. I'm checking the chat box. May mga nakikita pa akong insights. Okay. Sabi po ni Ms. Gwen, others might have suggestions about moving forward or answer to where do we go from here. So just feel free to enter that in the chat box. Keep the conversations going po, no? So again, for our evaluation form, it is currently flashed on your screens. Your feedback means a lot to us as it helps us improve future Kamayan forums. So we would genuinely appreciate it if everyone takes a few minutes to fill it out. And secondly, for those requesting e-certificates of participation, we would like to remind everyone that you must have been actually present in today's forum, not just pre-registered. And of course, you must submit a completed evaluation form, which we have shared earlier. And it's also in the group chat, in the chat box. Po. Thirdly, we would also like to invite everyone to become an official member of Green Convergence. Join us all in our movement towards sustainable development and stay engaged in GC's activities such as our monthly Kamayan and many more. The membership registration link will also be shared in the chat box and flashed on your screens. Ayan po siya right now. Make sure also to like and follow Green Convergence's Facebook page for more updates. Reminder, we only have one Facebook page and we have changed the name to better frame GC's identity, no? It is now Green Convergence, formerly Green Convergence Philippines-GC. Again, Green Convergence na po ang official Facebook account ng GC. Please be reminded po. Lastly, we encourage everyone to be mindful of their carbon footprint. Use the Ako Ang Bukas Household GHG Calculator web app where you can calculate your carbon footprint and find ways to reduce it. You can also be part of the bigger change by signing the Ako Ang Bukas pledge. Links will also be shared in the chat box and flashed on your screens. And for our resource speakers and everyone in the Zoom room, feel free to also send links in the chat box if you have programs or projects that we can maybe participate in or explore. Ay, nakikita ko po si Miss Gwen, nagsisend po siya ng kanilang contact details. Ayan. Thank you again, everyone. Giving the floor back to you po, Miss Tessa.
Yes, as we come to a close of today's meaningful session, please allow me to introduce a respected environmental educator and leader who has dedicated many years to advancing environmental awareness, sustainability, and community action towards ecological development. To deliver her closing remarks, please join me in welcoming my idol and Green Convergence founding president and trustee, Dr. Angelina Galang. Take it away.
Thank you,
Dr. G.
Tessa. Nako, I think you've done much more for the environmental movement. Anyway, yes, I think I agree with you, and everyone else probably feels this way, that this has been a very interesting session because we got perspectives from a student,
Yeah.
faculty members, Vicky Naniagas, I know her, and I know also Vicky de los Santos, and other participants. And this is what really makes environmental discussions interesting, the different points of view. Because we really look at environment from different perspectives. And we come to our conclusions from this perspective. But what we're trying to do in Green Convergence is to promote the ecological paradigm. Well, I'll talk about that in a while. But really, this session um, traversed the whole environmental journey, the whole journey of humanity from the creation story to where we are now in 3 hours or 2.5 hours. Carmen Alviar talked about Genesis, the creation by our Lord, first of light, and then plants and animals. And she pointed out that actually this has been an evolution as far as the humankind is concerned. All these things that have happened, discovery of fire, development of electricity, uh, building structures which are more secure for human beings, the way we do things. If you come to analyze what has happened, all these things have been because humans have tried to find ways to make life more convenient, more comfortable, a better quality of life. Unfortunately, we have, we have abused. Can we say abused? For some people, it's really abuse, meaning no matter what happens to the environment, they will do what they want for money, for position, for prestige. But there are some developments that are not bad in themselves, but have given us problems because of various factors like population, perspective, as I said, the reaching for new ideas by people and then coming up with technologies which are wrong. When they developed the atom bomb, for example, after which they developed the nuclear power plants, it was to look for a power source which was really a giant one. And you might say, well, that's they used human imagination, they used human logic and scientific knowledge to come up with an energy source which can give us infinite energy. Actually, I mean, in a way, no, but it's not infinite. But I don't want to blame the scientists who developed nuclear technology. They had their goals. But now that we see what it is, I think we should be humble enough and look at it even from the human perspective, that it's really going against the patterns of nature. When we give environmental education, one exercise we give is we give a certain issue and then we ask the participants, is it very acceptable, which means it is a yes, yes, or is it very unacceptable, which means no, no? So we used to say, tree planting, is it yes, yes, or no, no? At that time, it was yes, yes, until we discovered that not all tree planting some tree planting might have disadvantages because we might be planting the wrong tree in the wrong place. But in general, okay, it's yes, yes, in general, with qualifications. At the other end of the spectrum are technologies which are no, no, and nuclear is one of them. So our student can think about it more, hopefully, but she has her own way of looking at things. Genetically modified organisms are for us no, because they go against the nature. We are destroying nature at the very basic unit of life, which is the gene. We are changing the gene, the genetic makeup of organisms when we go into genetically modified organisms. In between are technologies and programs, which can be yes, can be no, depending on um, other factors. For example, mining. I think there's no question that everything that we need comes from the earth. Okay? But is mining possible without being so destructive? Our indigenous peoples mined in a way they took the gold from the river, for example. They panned river water and they came up with gold. Unfortunately, there are other factors which make mining so unacceptable, which is corruption, indiscriminate mining wherever they want, even if it is a primary forest, um, and other better uses. So we're saying that for the Philippines, mining should be a last resort. But in itself, if it's done well, and if it's done, uh, I don't know if you can say sustainable mining. For example, in the Cordilleras, there is a community which quarries the river. Okay, they quarry it to a certain amount and then they stop. Every year, some rocks and uh, some land cascades down the mountain and again fills the river with rocks, which they can quarry again. So you might say it's a recycle. It's sustainable. They quarry, but then it's replenished. Nature replenishes it, but they know the limits. They take only the amount that can be replenished by nature. But think of the quarrying done now, which is entire mountainsides, which cannot be renewed. Okay, so we have to look at all our structures and technologies and see and evaluate them whether they are more advantageous than disadvantageous. Cutting off a tree is not bad. It is people built houses from trees. But with the state of our environment now, with so little left, we have to be on the side of trees. Yung ganun eh. Carmen mentioned balance of the needs of people with balance of the environment, which sustains people. So that is how we can look at it. But then we went on to the talk of Gwen, which showed the ruptures, and this is really what I've been talking about. How we have gone beyond our needs. We have gone beyond just sustaining, getting from nature that is sustainable, but we have gone into programs that are unsustainable. But I'm glad we finished with Rodney, who gave us hope. He says that we act because we hope. Otherwise, we would just be desperate and say, ay nako, wala na tayong magagawa. You know, the environmental movement has been sustained by people who have hope. Sometimes people say, ano ba nagawa na ng environmentalists? Marami pa tayong problema. Marami pa tayong problema. But just think of it, if there were no environmentalists, if there were no passionate people devoted to the environment, how much worse it can be. It would have been. You know, we really go up and down, up and down. We elect a good president, and then we elected a bad president. Then good again, and then bad again. And there will always be challenges about the environment. There will be new issues, or there will be old issues because there are shifts in society which will make people think another way. Okay? I mentioned that I went to an anti-nuke conference yesterday. I was so happy that there were so many young people. The organizers were young people. And so if the young have that paradigm that we should preserve, conserve, protect, love nature, the earth, which is actually a love for us, a love for the poor, of course, who are the first to suffer from environmental destruction, but for all of us. If we love the environment and nature, we love ourselves because it's nature and the environment which gives us life. So we have hope because we have young people who will carry on the struggle. They will have their own challenges. They will have their other socio-economic circumstances. And the important thing is that we have the ecological paradigm, meaning trying to preserve and conserve nature so that it will work for the rest of creation and certainly for humanity. So thank you to all our speakers, to our participants, and let us love nature, let us love ourselves, let us love God who gave us these blessings. Thank you, and let's all have a good day.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Galang, for the very inspiring closing remarks. No, at the end of the day po talaga, we have to find a way to revert to nature and our decision making. No, not just taking into account the scientific aspect, which is very important, but also the social aspect, how it will affect our relation as humans to the environment we share. The balance nga po, as Dr. Galang had mentioned. So thank you for the reflections, Dr. Galang. We hope these resonate to everyone, especially the youth. All right, Ms. Tessa, giving the floor back to you po.
Yes, that's right. What a way to conclude today's forum. Thank you, Dr. G and Marian. At maraming salamat din sa ating mga resource speakers at lahat ng mga nandito ngayon. Okay, it was mentioned that is environmental reality check, where we are and where we need to go. All right? So nakita na natin where we are. That was well discussed by our resource speakers. And they also had recommendations on where we need to go. Maybe ang sinasabi, with the things that we do, the development that we have, it should follow the system of nature. Okay? So dapat talagang follow also nature because ang sabi nga ay we need nature and nature can exist without us. So we need to do more. So what can we do? These are just some suggestions, but you can of course think more. We have the voting power. Okay? And we will be having the election soon. Think of mga leaders who have this environmental paradigm, okay? That will really love our country and our people and nature. All right? And then increase the number of seats in mga environment, in the PAMB maybe, or in other groups, so that we have the voice of talagang the common people and people who will be affected by the development that will happen. Ang sinabi nga, have a plan B. Pag kunyari, hindi na-elect yung ating mga gustong candidates, ano yung ating plan B? So maybe we can start thinking of that also. And then, yung mga EIA, baka bago mag-EIA, i-assess muna and research what the development really is or what the technology that is being introduced before we even talk about the EIA. All right? And of course, the last one, stronger people power. Kasi ang sabi, we are the hope, we are the action, and we are the solution to all our environmental problems right now that we are faced with. Okay? So, again, happy Environment Month to everyone. Just a reminder that our next Kamayan will be on July 17. We hope to see you all again for another meaningful Kamayan para sa Kalikasan session. Also, watch out through our Facebook page for other GC activities, most especially the upcoming State of Nature Assessment or Green Sauna in August. So, with that, this is Tessa Oliva, Green Convergence Executive Director, and with me is...
Marian Luisa Palo, Media and Communications Officer of Green Convergence. Happy Philippine Environment Month. See you all again on July 17. Let us keep the conversation going, share what you've learned, invite others to be part of the movement, and together let's build a greener and more sustainable future. Muli, maraming salamat at makakalikasang araw po sa ating lahat. Ingat po. Have a good
Bye,
weekend.
everyone.
Thank you. God bless.